5 directives after the heavy downpour that was witnessed in Nairobi on Sunday night that destroyed property, killed others, and left residents homeless. In a statement issued on Monday, March 25th, Sakaja directed the Nairobi Water Storage Company to mobilize its water bowsers to be deployed in affected areas and also provide residents with clean water. He also ordered the public health officers and the community health providers to intensify on-the-ground support through the distribution of water treatment tablets and offering psychosocial support to those affected. The governor assured Nairobi residents that the county government was monitoring the situation and taking necessary measures to avoid the loss of life and property.
Na tumekuwa na shida sana wakati mvua inaponyesha. Tunakuwa na shida, unakuta kama hapa vile sasa imefurika namna hii, watu kuna wakati mgumu. Watoto waweza kwenda kwenye msalani na pia wazienda wakacheza. Na hii imetokana kwa sababu ya poor drainage pattern enyelewekwa na wale ambao wanatuzingira kutoka katika tuseme hiyo area ya Lang'ata Center, hiyo estate. Sasa zile sewage zinapolipuka yote inakuja ndani ya shule, ndio maana paka imekuwa sasa hapa watoto wetu waweze katoka nje wako ndani.
We do deco and we have a shop right behind us. Right now it's really affected and we have to be running businesses. If this keeps on happening, we won't be able to have businesses.
Kwa mabarabara huko juu, from Lang'ata High School, from Ngei, inakuja paka hapa, hapa ni Manyata. Ikishafika hapa, haina pahali pa kuenda na inatakana iingia kwa shule. Shule walijenga ukuta, wakafunga. Maji nisiingia kwa shule kwa sababu ya watoto. Sasa hii maji inaleta hasara kwa kuingia kwa manyumba kwa sababu hakuna pahali pa kuenda.
Kanjo kama mimi nafanya pale juu, hawezi kuja hapo bila 5,000. Hapa hii ukuta imepomoka juu ya maji. Usiona pale hakuna maji, hata ukiangalia sasa hii sewage inatoa pale. Sewage inatoa maji pale sababu hii nini ikikuja pale mchanga inaingia ina block. Kuwaita hapa ni pesa, wanakura mingi na hatuna usaidizi.
So kulikuwa na madha fulani hapa alikuwa na mtoi mwenye hii shop. So alikuwa amekuja ile kumsaidia kufunga. Sababu hapa place pia sometimes hakuko na ile security power. So alikuwa na patrol akikuja kumsaidia. So the mother alikuwa na mtoi. So angeweza kufunga pale hivyo. So yeye alikuja kumsaidia. So it was just abruptly kukakua hivyo. So kukaporomoka vile mnaona hapa hivi. Kukakua hivyo. So hiyo maji ilipita pale kwa ile pavement ile calabash ya ndani ikapita na juu. Kulikuwa hapa na fridge ikapita na yeye hivyo.
Ili machozi naangusa. Jamani, best yangu. Siriko ba. Jamani, best yangu. Ulizo jamaa atakwambiwa askari mwenye amesimama hapa.
Sasa hizi tunajaribu kumsaidia lakini yuko chini kabisa. Hata tunangoja tractor ikuje mtoe, alafu ndo tumtoe.
Now, the funeral mass of the journalist Rita Tinina was held at the Holy Family Basilica in Nairobi. Rita was found dead in her home in Nairobi on March 17th, and a post-mortem examination revealed she had died of pneumonia. Rita worked as a producer and journalist at various television stations, most recently serving at NTV. Now, speaking at the event, Rita's niece, Olive Barrows, who read the family's statement, filled with sorrow and shock at their loved one's death, paid tribute to the late journalist. NTV journalists, along with other media outlets, also offered their condolences to their departed colleague.
Her selflessness will remain a standard we can only strive to achieve.
As I stand here before you, I am broken. However, broken things can be mended, whereas the loss of a loved one is absolute. What is remarkable, I find, is Rita Tinina established her legacy just shy of her 46th birthday.
She was a beacon of truth and compassion. Her words, like gentle waves, touched countless lives, and her personal attributes left an indelible mark on all who knew her.
Rita withstood the polluting side of Nairobi, and she died intact. Success, fame, and money did not distort who she was at the core.
Let us emulate and exhibit the values that Rita exhibited, while also at the same time espousing the virtues that she stood for.
The main Kisii prison is expected to be relocated away from the county capital as part of efforts to facilitate the expansion of the city. This was disclosed by the Interior CS Professor Kithure Kindiki, who was on a visit to Kisii. Kindiki stated that plans are underway to identify alternative land within the area to facilitate the relocation, which will be done in collaboration between the national government through his ministry and the county government. He also visited Migori County, where he commended the county security committee for their efforts, leading to the seizure of 3,000 bags of marijuana and intensification of operations against illicit alcohol.
Main prison. As you are aware, the government has decided to relocate the Kisii prison from here to another site so that to give room for the expansion of our town. And therefore, lawlessness, breach of peace, or disruption of public meetings, and those leaders who are using our young men and women to cause chaos and violence in meetings, we said that we are going to arrest all of them. I am happy to report that we've progressed very well with the investigations, and we expect to be making arrests in the coming days of all those who have been organizing, financing and orchestrating violence here, so that it can serve as a deterrent and nobody repeats that kind of behavior again. I said that time and I repeat now, nobody, and I repeat, nobody is above the law. Number two, as security managers, we are not interested with the political persuasion of the offenders. If you break the law, it doesn't matter your political persuasion, we will arrest you. It doesn't matter your status in society, we will arrest you. We will prosecute you, and we'll make sure that you are punished in accordance with the laws of our country. The culture of intolerance, violence, and goonism is a matter that is worrying us as security people, not just here in Kisii, in other parts of the country as well. And we are convinced beyond doubt that unless we nip this problem in the bud, we nip this problem now, unless we destroy the infrastructure of violence that is developing, which is politically instigated, these criminals will organize themselves and mutate into other crimes.
As the fight against drugs and illicit alcohol intensifies in Mombasa County and various parts of the country, security agencies are stepping up efforts to curb the menace. While speaking to the media at the Makupa police station, where police intercepted marijuana being transported disguised as dried fish in a refrigerated truck, the Deputy County Commissioner of Mvita, Ronald Mwiwawi, credited the success to public cooperation and collaboration with security agencies. Mwiwawi added that transport companies must operate diligently to ensure thorough inspection of goods and they transport to prevent the facilitation of drug trafficking and other illicit activities. Meanwhile, the County Police Commander of Mvita, Maxwell Agoro, highlighted the effectiveness of various organizations' strategies in combating the threat of drugs and illicit alcohol in the area.
Na mwananchi aliweza kutoa habari kwa polisi kwamba kuna mzigo ambao wanaushuku na mmoja tayari ushasafirishwa kuelekea mahali ulikuwa umelengwa, na askari wakaweza kushikana pamoja na hawa wananchi na wakafuata mwenye alikuwa amebeba mzigo huu ili kuusafirisha mahali unatakana kwenda, na wakaweza kuwafikia, na baada ya kuwafikia katika mahali walikuwa wameelekea, walipowakamata wale ndio wakaweza kuwaelezea mahali mzigo ilikuwa imeshukishiwa. So wakarudi ndio wakaweza kupata vile tunavyoona tuko na bells 35 na kila bell inabeba misokoto 100. Kwa hivyo kwa ujumla hii misokoto vile tunavyoona na ni misokoto kubwa, yote kwa ujumla ni 3,500. Na tunaona kwamba mahali imetoka ili kusafirishwa kuletwa Mombasa imetoka katika kaunti ya Siaya. Imeletwa kutoka kaunti ya Siaya, imefikishwa hapa Mombasa, na vile sote tunaona ni kwamba hii yote ilikuwa inalenga vijana wetu hapa Mombasa. Na vile sote tunavyofahamu, tumezungumzia swala hili sana la mihadarati hapa Mombasa, hasa vijana wetu wa shule wanatumia bangi kama sigara, na wengi wamepotelea kwa mihadarati mpaka wameshindwa na masomo, ambapo ni swala la kusikitisha. Lakini sisi kama vyombo vya usalama tumejitolea na tumehakikisha kwamba tumeweka ushirikiano wa karibu na wananchi. Mwezi wa Disemba mwaka jana tulikutana na wale watu wa kusafirisha mizigo, wa kusafirisha maabiria. Tulifanya mkutano na wao na tukawaambia kwamba ni vizuri tuweze kusaidiana, ili wakati mizigo kama hizi zinasafirishwa, na unaona mzigo kama huu ulikuwa unasafirishwa kwa kwamba ni samaki aliyekaushwa. So mwenye kusafirisha nadhani kwamba amesafirisha samaki ambao ni wa kukaushwa.
Sisi kama sub county tumeweka mikakati kana kwamba operation inafanywa kila siku, kila wakati, na zile vifurushi ambayo tumezinasa zote tumeziweka, watu wamefikishwa kotini na hatujalala, tunaendelea na hiyo kazi vilivyo. Records ziko na kila mali tumeshika doria.
All right, let's talk about the newspapers and take a look at what is making headlines. Now, the Standard speaks on Gachagua walks back on Kenyatta attacks. Gachagua walks back on Kenyatta's attacks. Humble pie, Deputy President says, "I'm sorry," and tells former First family for his incessant attacks on them and their enterprises as politics in Mount Kenya heats up. Now, this is exactly what the DP said. "I tender our apologies to Mama Ngina and ask her to forgive us just like her children. It was political bad manners and never shall it happen again." So that was the Deputy President, and he, is it a humble pie? And he said this while at a local TV station within Mount Kenya and a radio station within Mount Kenya. And he says, that was just politics, and he's not willing to continue on that path, and says he asks for forgiveness. Now, the DP has sought for forgiveness from Kenya's First Lady, Mama Ngina Kenyatta, over political transgressions against her family. Gachagua has said he regrets the words that the Kenya Kwanza administration leaders hurled at Mama Ngina and her family, vowing to never allow that happen again. While speaking on one of the TV stations and radio in Mount Kenya, he said by virtue of her age, Mama Ngina is mother to the politicians, and says they insulted her during the campaign period, which was not fair. Now, we've seen this sort of relationship, fall apart and grow for the past 3 years, I'd say, in the run-up to the elections, during the campaign period, and even post the elections period. Now, for instance, in February 1st, 2023, Kenya Kwanza senators led by John Methu of Nyandarua urged the National Assembly to investigate tax waivers enjoyed by the Kenyatta family during Uhuru's tenure. Now, to which prompted Mama Ngina to come out guns blazing. She says she's paying her taxes, and that she's ready to have her property auctioned upon proof of tax evasion. Now, that was February 1st. Later on March 27th, 2023, Kenyatta's Northlands estate in Kiambu was raided by goons who are believed to have been state-sponsored. As part of the farm was burnt, trees felled, illegal subdivision done, and even sheep stolen. and some were slaughtered and some were sold around the Kamakis eastern bypass. So on July 2023, the Kenya Kwanza administration came under sharp focus when the former president called in media early night and complained about a raid at his son's house over claims he had firearms without licenses. And so, as you've seen from the examples I've given, from February to March to July, there has been, no blood lost between some of the Mount Kenya leaders and the Kenyatta family. And now, we are having an apology from the deputy president. Now, according to some of the strategists and analysts, they say, Gachagwa's extension of olive branch and, seeking for forgiveness just means Gachagua has come of age in politics and has realized, it's not all do or die matter of politics. So forget the past. Gachagua eats humble pies, says sorry to the Kenyatta's family. In Nairobi, when it rains, it pours, and I mean seriously. And so we had an all-night Sunday rain that was pouring within Nairobi, I believe in other parts of the country or some parts of the country as well, that saw, various places flood. We saw destruction of property. We also saw, various lives that have been reported lost. I believe about 4 people were reported dead due to floods yesterday. So heavy rains pounded Nairobi on Sunday night, leaving a trail of destruction. Roads were blocked, houses submerged in water, and many businesses interrupted. Transport was on Monday temporarily affected on the Nairobi Expressway and the Enterprise Road due to floods. Motorists were trapped in traffic jams on Lunga Lunga Road, Peponi Road, Baricho Road, and Jogoo Road, among others. Now, a police officer identified as David Chesire lost his life while trying to save lives of at least 4 people in Kamkunji. So, in Nairobi, when it rains, there's always a doom story that comes in. Also, state to press murder charges against DJ over officers killing. That is the famous celebrity DJ Joe Mfalme, and he's set to face murder charges over an officer's killings. Now, the DPP says 7 suspects detained for 21 days. The prosecutor says more time needed because probe is complex. Now, the DPP Brenson Ngonga yesterday revealed that the state intends to press murder charges against DJ Joe Mfalme, and during the hearing of an application to detain Mfalme, whose real name is Joseph Mwenda Munoru, Ngongi, through the prosecution lawyer Lawrence Mutune, said the investigations will determine whether the DJ and his 6 co-accused were responsible for the death of Dagoretti Deputy Sub-County Criminal Investigations Officer Felix Kilian Kintosi. So this is the headline on the Standard. Now let's move to the Daily Nation. Take a look at what it is printing out this morning. Jobs dispute that may cripple KRA. Jobs dispute that may cripple KRA. Now, a costly mistake, a court order barring Kenya Revenue Authority from hiring is threatening to paralyze its operations and undermine revenue collection, with the taxman now finding itself in the middle of a human resource storm as contracts for over 50 senior managers are set to expire amid a staff shortage of 4,000 that has persisted over the years. So job dispute that may cripple KRA, pardon me, an institution that is really on a trajectory to ensure that it meets its revenue targets. So staffing crisis threatens to cripple KRA after court blocks new hiring. Now, according to the newspaper, it has established that at least 4 commissioners, 17 deputy commissioners, and 26 senior managers will be out of contract in the coming weeks, a situation that could grind the KRA's operation to a halt. Now, taxman yet to put in place diversity policies, and the 30-day window given to KRA to put in place the ethnic diversity and regional balance policy will expire next Monday. Also, if you can look at the top of the page, also 2 women that are walking literally in water as the industrial area, also flooded, and that was perhaps the situation in various parts of the country. So heavy rains bring death, destruction. Also on the top of the page, Mama, please forgive us, politics. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has offered an apology to former First Lady Mama Ngina Kenyatta for what he termed political madness during the 2022 elections campaign as he stepped up his bid to take control of the Mount Kenya region. Now, finally, the Star newspaper that speaks on families of dead rich men battle for their billions. Families of dead rich men battle for their billions. Children, grandchildren, secret families in legal battles for inheritance. The family of Daniel Arap Moi, the late Mwai Kibaki, the late John Michuki, the late Simeon Nyachai, Jackson Kibor, as well as Talochan Singh Rai. And that is a story that is on page 2, where it talks of court wars rage over billions of Kenya's rich and famous dead. Relatives of the Moi, the Kibakis, the Michukis, the Nyachayas, and other fight for massive wealth. Now, for Daniel Arap Moi, before his peaceful death on February 4th, 2020, Moi thought he had drafted a will that would enable harmonious share of his state, but that hasn't been the case, with his grandson Collins Kibet Toriotich Moi lodging a fight for the former president's billions. Kibet is the eldest son of Jonathan Toroitich and Moi's firstborn son, who died of pancreatic cancer on April 20th, 2019. His son is now fighting for his share of the famous and vast Moi estate, esteemed to be worth 300 billion shillings. Now, for Mwai Kibaki, Kibaki was Moi's successor and the third president of Kenya, who served between 2002 and 2013. After his retirement, Kibaki enjoyed a relatively quiet life until his death on April 21st, 2022 at the age of 90. Just like Moi, Kibaki left a will where he listed his 4 children, Judy Wanjiku, Jimmy Kibaki, David Kagai, and Anthony Githinji, as heirs to his estate believed to be worth over 2 billion shillings. However, a man has emerged demanding a share of the estate, claiming that Kibaki was his biological father, and that is Jacob Ocholas, aged 63. He claims he was sired by Kibaki, and similar claims have been lodged by a woman codenamed JNL, and Kibaki's family, led by Judy, has since opposed their claims. Now, we also have Simeon Nyachai, who has an estate as well, a property or wealth beyond 2 billion shillings. There's also a fight for that between a US-based woman called Margaret Chwea, who claims she was married to Nyachai and that they had 3 children together. John Michuki, on his other hand, he's got estates worth 10 billion shillings and died in 2012. There's a fight for Michuki's wealth between siblings, where daughter Yvonne Wanja had sued her sister Ann Mutahi and brother Fred Chege for mismanaging their multi-billion shilling case. And so the list continues of powerful billionaires who succumbed, but the property is still, or there are still fights over the property. Also, ODM to cancel grassroots polls as rivalry spills. Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition leader Odinga plans to cancel the next month's grassroots polls within ODM party. And the newspaper Star can reveal, and it says it has established that the party plans to pick leaders by consensus in order not to rock the boat ahead of the 2027 elections. And also how poor, needy students locked out of bursaries, where millions of shillings meant to educate the poor and the needy could end up in the pockets of a few county bureaucrats. AG Nancy Gadungu has exposed how officials could be dishing out bursaries and scholarships to their associates at the expense of deserving learners. So those are the headlines of the newspapers. The Star speaks of families dead, rich men battle for their billions. And the Daily Nation speaks of job dispute that may cripple KRA, as well as Gachagua walks back on Kenyatta's attacks. Those are your headlines on the newspapers. All right, Morning Live takes a quick break, but when we come back, we'll be getting into the conversation that involves education as well as the job market. There seems to be a misbalance of just how many people we are educating, releasing into the world, but they're not being absorbed in various jobs or in the job market. So what is shifting, what is changing, what is not? So that conversation is coming up in just a bit. Your feedback is highly welcomed. Our SMS line is 23059. We'll be back in just a bit. Stay with us. Able to pick up a skill that you can use to employ yourselves and also employ others. So that is why we're having this conversation on bridging the university education and the job market. So let me introduce my guest in studio of this morning. I'm joined by the Chief Executive Officer of Central Careers, Joseph Muraya. Thank you for your company this morning.
Pleasure, and good morning.
Good morning to you too. Now, Muraya, if you look at the statistics, we're releasing about 50,000 student graduates every year,
yes,
from various universities and colleges. And we're also talking about an employment rate in the youth of 12.15%.
Yes.
Just on the basics as we start us off, if you look at these statistics, what does it tell you about the job market in Kenya?
This means that the job market has become dynamic, and it means that we have become consumers of the jobs rather than creators. So meaning that we are not creating more jobs as we are producing the graduates.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. I don't know which university teaches graduates to be employees and workers instead of thinkers. And the only way to bridge that gap will become to start training them on skills that can be applied to create more jobs and opportunities.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. And you've mentioned something important. We are sort of, consumers of jobs rather than creators of jobs. Perhaps you can expound more on that, because that is just where the problem largely lies.
Yes.
Somebody graduates with a degree in this or a diploma in that, and then they just expect, I need to be employed somewhere, but they don't really think about, I need to create jobs.
Maybe I would blame it on 844. 844 taught us to be competitors. It taught us that you should make money. And thus, we have not been brought up maybe by a generation that was creating jobs. We have been brought up by generations that have been able to rise through the ranks of employment.
Yeah.
And how did we even get to the university? Let's start to that point. How did you select your course? This course is selected by basis of the points you make and the grade you get at Form 4. So that means the degrees that graduates are holding are not their own degrees. The simple statistics are telling us that out of 10 graduates, 6 are what we call lost intellectuals.
Wow.
Meaning they picked the wrong courses.
Yeah.
And they get to second year, they go back to first year to do the right one, they get to third year, they realize the wrong one. So 6 years down the line, the graduate has not completed their course.
Yeah.
2 are doing it from their heart. I needed to do this is what I want. And 2 are doing what their parents wanted. Their parents wanted to be an engineer, they failed to be an engineer, and they believed they sired an engineer. So they made an engineer out of the grades.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that we are moving from that competition phase to the CBC phase. But unfortunately, we are still doing the same thing. Nanjara, it's unfortunate that the notes that was used on me in campus are the same notes that are being used on my younger brother 12 years down the line. So a lot has evolved in the labor market through artificial intelligence and technology, but are we evolving also in the curriculum designs in that level? Are we adopting the new careers that are coming up?
Yeah.
Yes, we have new careers that are coming up like cloud computing, big data analytics, nanotube, Internet of Things, AI, 3D and 4D printing. I mean, augmented and virtual reality, distributed data technology, blockchain, fintech.
Yeah.
Are we teaching that? Are we teaching that in the university? Because I use what I studied. If today you have a young man studying anything to do with the business course today, statistics are showing that those are the majority of the 50,000 that you are mentioning. Where are these jobs that can acquire the 50,000? the business course. Let's pick what I did, the BCom. We have tills, we have pay bill, we have even pay direct to the bank. So what would I be reconciling? Why do a supermarket need now 5 accountants? They only need 1. So these some of the mismatch that we have between the academia and the labor market. So meaning we have to be deliberate.
Yeah.
We have to be deliberate and we have to acquire the relevant skills. I've sat on interview tables for accountants. Somebody has CPAK and BCom. You tell them, what can you do for us?
Yeah.
They say anything. Give them a laptop. Tell them to do a simple bank reconciliation. Out of the 10, 5 walk away. Out of the 5 remaining, 3 cannot attempt. Then you're wondering, how did they acquire these skills first of all?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we acquired them because of competition. We needed to pass. We did not acquire them for the knowledge purpose. And nowadays, knowledge is not enough. We are in the era of skills revolution. So it's an era of certification.
Yeah.
I was taking a simple analysis, and you can tell me because you use this. Yeah. How long can a knife work in your kitchen before it needs sharpening? How long would you use your knife?
That's an interesting one. That's an interesting one because I've never really even thought about it. That's an interesting.
At most a week before you sharpen it. So the future job holder will need to have a profile. They need to be futuristic. They need to jump the ship quickly. They need to have a mentality of throw anything at me approach. Let me ask, we are not in an era of combining skills. The way you used to say you combine CPA with BCom. We are in an era of career branding. Yeah. We need a lawyer who is technologically savvy so that they can be able to investigate online fraudulent claims. We need maybe a BCom guy who also have product development skill. He can become a product owner. We want people in IT who have the agile and scrum master skills. And these are some of the careers that are coming up through the World Economic Forum.
Yeah.
So my advice is, if we had undergrad today, I would say study one of the areas that you have been called for or you have been admitted for, but make sure you use psychometric assessment so that you are able to understand whether this is in your interest.
Yeah.
Because if that degree is not in your interest, then it means that it will keep on changing.
Yeah.
And I saw that data, and I made my own data where I was in the university. Out of a class of 3,000 whom we are admitted in that one
course.
Yes. 2,000 people changed before we finished. So meaning they had been admitted on the wrong courses. So what about the others who never changed? And what did they change into? You'll be shocked. People are changing into arts. You are even a prestigious course, you go to arts.
Yeah.
And who said that engineers and doctors are the only happy people in this world?
Yeah.
Yes. So I hope I've answered the first question of why we are having this gap.
Yeah.
The problem is these graduates, if they do not get an employment, they cannot employ their skills. And what were we told during graduation? Go and do what appertains to your degree.
Yeah.
So your degree did not appertain for you looking for a job. It appertains with you applying it. So I give this analogy and say this is like the analogy of a blind man who visited a friend, and when he was leaving, because it was dark, he was given a lamp. He went holding the lamp above his head, and at some point he got knocked by someone on the road. And then he was angry and saying, why would you knock on me and I'm holding a lamp? Can't you see me?
Yeah.
Then after searching for the lamp, the man who knocked him along the road asked him, which lamp were you holding? He said, I had a lamp. The guy told him, your lamp went out long time ago, but you are still holding it. Could it be the case that we are holding degrees that are outdated?
Wow. Good one. Now, before we get to just this person that has now joined campus, yeah, let's talk about that boy or girl that is still in high school,
Yes.
Particularly in Form 4,
Yes.
when, it's that point they're given choices to, you need to pick your careers, you need to pick universities that you'd love to go to. Earlier you said there's a disconnect with our 844 system, which, is being phased out, that was more focused on, it's a competition basically. What will you get that will allow you to join university, but not
Yes.
a question of is it a competent grade that can allow you to get into a skilled course
Yes.
in campus. So for these pastors that are still with 844, because we still have about 4 years of that curriculum before it's phased out, as they make that decision, what should they be looking forward to, or what should they be looking at as they make a decision on what course to choose?
Actually, this is what we are doing around the country, visiting high schools and advising students as early as Form 1 that all subjects are important, but they are core subjects that will form your career. There are 4 subjects that are called cluster subjects that will make you get to the university. Despite you doing 7 during KCSE, 4 will make you get to your course. Then we ask them simple question: do you know these subjects? No. You select the subjects at Form 2. How do you select them? On the basis either you hate the teacher, either you like the subject, or either you are performing good at it. Personally, I did a reverse. I threw away 4 A's at Form 2 because I had no advice. Agriculture, I said I come from where we farm, I don't need that. History, my grandmother had told me a lot of stories, I don't need stories. Geography, I can tell how the Amadea Ranges looks like. I threw away my 4 A's, which would have formed part of my career, without knowing that the career I was doing, it did not even require sciences. Because where does a Royal Combination Cluster require sciences? Where does a BCom guy require sciences to be admitted in the university? So what we are telling these students is, let us help you by the use of psychometric assessment, which has been in use for the past 20 years. It can be able to give you something we call the career interest assessment, can be able to give you a 19-page booklet telling you if you wanted to study finance, legal, these are the careers of interest. Because it measures using something we call the realistic model. We say that the individuals who are realistics, the individuals, and the realistic people are the doers, the engineers, the architects. We are individuals who are very investigative, the thinkers, the lawyers, the scientists. We have individuals who are very artistic. These are the creators. We have individuals who are very social, the helpers, the HR and admins. We have individuals who are persuaders, yes, the entrepreneurial people. We have individuals who are conventional and the organizers, the credit guys people. They like structures and policies. So if you have that, you are able to choose your careers very well. And amazingly, the profile of every person, you can be able to do 3 jobs very well. That's why CUSIPs ask you to fill 4. Because they know these 3 you can be able to do very well. So the 4th one, it's either a mix of the 2, like a CRO. CRO would be a mix of sales and marketing to come in to be a chief revenue officer to see where is the mismatch or the gaps. So we are telling students, before you choose subjects, before you drop them at Form 2, can you have your career path? And this is what also CBC is saying. We have career paths from grade 10. What are these career paths? This is to tell them that this is your line in life. So we'll have a very, a very confused era here because there is no repetition. From Form 1 now you cannot repeat, even if you fail, because you are repeating in which curriculum.
Exactly.
Again, the first cohort of CBC, again, they are going to face unknown. Nobody has been there before. So there are no past papers, there are no revision kits. So they will have to be either the initiators or a sacrifice. That's what I see it. But I say at Form 2, everybody should be able to choose their careers based on evidence, based on sound advice. Because this era of putting saliva here and tapping to see where your career is headed. Because that's personally how we are doing it. Yes. Everybody, you put science here and you put maths here. Then you tap. You say maths. You say agriculture. Yes.
Wow. Now, you know, for a lot of people, they're falling trapped to what you've just said, you know, no guidance in schools.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of even been commercialized, you know, you have to pay some money for you to choose a course in some of the, on some of the universities. Is it important to have career guiders, or I'd say, yeah, career guidelines, or not even career tutors who are in schools and are there almost full time, so that they can help children to pick these courses? Because that is where it all starts. You know, if the moment you have somebody in high school who picks a wrong career in university, automatically means they may most likely not get to the job market. So that is where it starts. So is it important to have career tutors and career guiders based in school there full time?
Very well put. We should have someone who is not on the, what I call the day-to-day teaching. Theirs is to sit and receive students on advisory and counseling services. But we need them now to upgrade into the future of work. Because yes, you can guide me, but what if I don't have any psychological issues or stress? I just need career advice. Yeah. So basically, I've been saying, when you are sick, you go to the hospital. When your car has problem, you go to the garage. When a child has want knowledge, they go to the school. Yeah. But when they want career advice, where do they go? There are no career centers in this country. So basically, they go to the street to be advised from there. So I would say that we have started that program. I think we have trained already like 50 teachers or so that are in high school, and they have seen the need for them to upgrade to the future of work and the use of psychometric assessment to be able to advise these students. Can you imagine that I had a teacher whose school, I think they had more than 70 A's, and all those A's were on his desk. After completing KCSE, asking them, Mwarim, please check which careers I can do because I have this A. And now the teacher was telling me, I think these guys, I'm done with them. They are now supposed to go to KUSIPs and do this. Yeah. And do you know this is the first time in Kenya that the parent has been given a responsibility to choose the careers from home? Yeah. And do you know what the parents are saying? We have not been sleeping, waiting for this KUSIPs website to open. And what are they doing? Again, guesswork. Fill this one. It's not accepting this one. The next one is accepted. It's accepted that one. The next one. So the child, by the end of the day, they don't even know what they have filled, but they just wanted to make sure that their credentials are on KUSIP's websites. Yeah. God forbid you are picked on that of that four. And mostly you'll be picked on the one that you never even wanted. So what happens to you? It means that you have already started on the wrong foot. And anything from guesswork is as disastrous as the first guess. For sure. Yeah. So students are doing their work, teachers are doing their best, parents are doing their best by making sure they pay that school fees, but we have a disconnect here. Who is advising? Because your parent might not be the best advisor. Because what if I am also a product of wrong career choice? I will advise you on what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an engineer, I failed, so can you be an engineer? So same thing will be passed to generation. You'll also advise your children, you wanted to be a priest. You never became a priest, so you would want your son to become a priest. So this is not about inherent mistakes. We want to be very intentional, and we want to discover the innate and inherent skills and abilities of a runner. Yeah. What were they born to do? Yes. Now,
in university, you'd hear a lot of instances, as you know, as kids are choosing to go to universities, there's this normal statement that you'll always hear: choose this course, kupata kazi ni rahisi. Don't choose this course, hautapata kazi. And that's a statement that either misleads or leads, so you'll be able to tell us about that, which is which, because it has happened to a lot of young people, and perhaps you'd hear them say 4 years after they're finished, I should have listened to what they said. He calls sitapata kazi. So with that kind of statement, does it really guide or does it misguide whoever is choosing a career?
That is a misguided concept, because there is what we call a career compass. A career compass is once you graduate, the first 10 years, you will really love what you do. Yes, you will enjoy it. Yeah. But after that, the awakening comes, especially just as you are hitting 35, because most graduate at 25. Yeah. Even in 2 Timothy 1:6, Paul was awakening Timothy and telling him, Stir up the gift of God that has been deposited in you by rain of my hands. Why was Paul saying that this guy has something deposited in him and is not being used? Let me tell you, you hear people saying that there is midlife crisis. It started there at 35. How does it start? We have a graduate who now says, I really hate this banking job. Yeah? I am going to leave it. Where are you going? I don't know, but I don't care. Mental illness starts to come in, slowly by slowly. So we start seeing a guy who was not drinking, now he passes by the rocker bar to have a stew for the road. Other vices start cropping up. You have a side chick, I don't know, you have other hobbies like betting and gambling. That's how they start cropping up. But again, I always thank the people who came up with the saying that life starts at 40. So you have 5 years to panel beat yourself. Because at that time you can already panel beat yourself. And I am a product of that panel beat. At that 5, I realized, oh my God, if I died today with corona, what would become of me? Whom was I or were I made to be? And I went back to the Bible and I looked at Ephesians 2:10. For you are God's workmanship, created for the good purpose, which God ordained beforehand. So, which is this purpose for that young person? When you're telling me, I'll connect you with a banking job, go and do that. I was looking for another clip from Uhuru Kenyatta in 2019. And Uhuru was asking people, Jameni, you are saying this child will become a doctor, but if he sees the sight of damu ya mbuzi anazirai. Sasa, which doctor is that?
Hata damu ya kuku.
Hata damu ya kuku. So the Uhuru was asking, nani ameharibu mtoto? Si ni wewe mzazi? Si ni wewe mwalimu? Si ni wewe umenisadvise? Because if today I was asked when I was in Form 4 what I wanted to do, maybe I would be somewhere else. Because all my life, I knew what I wanted to be. But people told me, no, you know, you need this job, you need that job. Look at now, the money that has been used to take me up to campus, and the money that I have used to panel beat myself into modeling what I want to be. And I'm not saying that all people are getting the wrong choices. Some are getting the right choices. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
You have something to add?
No, let me know that. Because I am imagining if I was going to campus, I would be looking at what skill sets are required. Before even I think about that job, what skill set do I possess? Because we are talking about competence-based curriculum. Can you observe a competence of a doctor from a child? What would you use to observe that your child is a doctor? Especially those parents who tell me that my child will be a doctor. I was privileged the other day to have 14 schools bring their top students, 14 schools, for me to talk to them about future of work. Before I started, I told them, just write to me what you want to be. How many doctors do we have? 70% were doctors. I was like, wow, Nakumicha is sorted. But by the time we are looking at a model I call the Ikigai, and it's a book called Ikigai, which Japanese use very easily. The Ikigai says that there is what you love and what you are good at. That's your passion. And that's what students would believe. That this is what I love, this is what I'm good at. But there is what you are good at and what you can be paid for. That's your profession. There is what you love and what the world needs. That's your mission and your call. And there is what the world needs and what you can be paid for. That's your vocation. So have people learned how to create that Ikigai, that center balance? That you have a passion, you have a profession, you have a mission, and you have a vocation. Because if all, who said life is all about going to work, getting home, getting a wife, getting children, paying the bills, then retiring and dying? Would you have accomplished your purpose on earth? Yes.
Now, let's talk about the job market now, because that's where the other big problem lies.
Yes.
I will do my 4-year course or my 3-year course in a particular, career.
Yes.
And then it's somehow difficult for me to be accommodated in a job market, or to, to at least get even an opportunity to practice what I've actually gone to school for. And perhaps that's where the internship and attachment come in, yes. But is it enough though? Because I see a lot of post adverts, we're looking for people with 5 years experience, 7 years experience. I know you're just a recent graduate, the only experience you have is your perhaps 3 months internship or 6 months, and you're sitting there like, okay, so what's next for me? So is it enough for you to just do your 4-year course, do your internship, and then wait it out? Is that enough?
It's not enough.
So what more should we do?
What more we should do is add the skills to your degree. Because a degree can earn you the job, but it cannot help you grow further without the skills. So skill set is what employers are looking for. Employers will always ask you, what can you do? Because they want to know, apart from the other people who graduated, what do you have special that you can do for us? I was talking to IT people, and I was shocked to note that for you to have an intern who is an IT, who can be adopted to the job market, you require 16 months of training. And the intern has 3 months. And probably this intern went maybe in a local farm where technology is not advanced. Now they want to join a bigger company here like Safaricom, where technology is in thin. They need digitally savvy people. So do they even have the skills like critical thinking and analysis, troubleshooting, problem solving and ideation, creativity, technological use, monitoring and control, persuasion and negotiation? Leave alone that. Do they even have the self-esteem and self-efficacy to face the interview panel? Because most people fail at the interview panel. Not that they do not know, they know, but communication is the problem.
Yeah, but no one teaches people how to behave in an interview. No one teaches people that it's a question of, oh, there's a job somewhere, you go for the job. But no one teaches graduates about that.
Amazingly, the good thing is that these graduates are natives of technology. So the time they spend on Twitter and TikTok, they can spend that time self-running. Because these things are there. LinkedIn is offering free courses. Coursera, they are offering also free courses and certification courses at the same time. So, like Excel tips and hacks, I see them daily. Free Excel hacks that you can self-tutor yourself. So, why do they need some of these things? You know, we have been brought in a mind that we have to see a teacher for you to run. So, I am like, do we even know our running styles? Because the brain is divided into 4 hemispheres. We have the cerebral left, cerebral right, limbic left. Every area has the type of person they can be, their interest, and they learn by which means. Like today in Anjara, which part of the brain are you using? Is it the verb or the non-verb part? Yes. Because mostly we do not even know how we consume knowledge. Our cognitive abilities are not sure. Are we dependent runners, collaborative runners? Are we relating? Are we global? Are we telescopic and or wide angled? We are not sure. So most students, if there is no lecture today in the university, they go back to their hostel. How many of them go to the library to research and do other things? We only want to duplicate the knowledge that we have acquired. So what I would advise is, let them run these skills. Let them realize that the job market have changed. By the way, do people know what jobs are coming up, like in care economy? Jobs like site reliability engineers, the data consultants, the full stack, the Python, the JavaScript, the .NET, the cloud consultants. These are the new jobs that are coming up. The data scientists. Like now, everybody is running to get that data scientist degree. But that's one of the many courses that are coming up. And you know what's happening? Nobody is asking whether, do you have the interest to be a data scientist or a data analytics? They go back to the same thing. This one, they'll get a job. We are in an era, by the way, of jobs and careers. So what's a job? A job is where you clock in, you clock out, whether you like it or not, because you have bills to be paid. A career is something that you do so well that money follows you. Kipchoge Keino, Messi, Ronaldo. Do you see them clocking in, clocking out? No. But they do what they do very well, that money follows them. By the way, how many talents are we nurturing here in Kenya? The talents.
So a talent is a career?
Yes. Yeah. By the way, even to be a good doctor is a career and is a talent.
Wow. Now, you've mentioned something important about trends in the job market,
yes.
and you've been able to list some of the jobs that,
that are coming up.
Or even in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, what will be on demand?
Yes.
And that's a question that a lot of people just need to sit down and ask, what will be on demand? Because it really helps you you're able to predict this industry, it's growing at this particular rate. This is what we're expecting will happen in the next few years. And so, are you really able to properly pinpoint what will happen in a particular industry or a particular job market? This is what will be on demand in the next 5 years. Looking at where we are now, 5 years ago, somebody would have been able to predict that at the moment data scientist is what will be needed, or robotics will be the conversation, or AI will be the conversation. Are you able to predict that in a job market?
Yes, very easily, because this information is there. But we are told that if you want to hide something from Africans, hide it in a book. So this information is there from the World Economic Forum 2020, 2021, 2023 is out. And they are saying the same thing, that people will need reskilling before 2025, including me and you. So we are in that era of skills and certification. So look at a job like in marketing.
Yeah.
Marketing has really transformed from growth hacker, growth manager, digital marketing specialist, digital marketing manager, product development, quality assurance, agile coach, software quality assurance, product analyst, scrum master, delivery lead. I mean, if I look at the HR, it's also evolving. Nowadays, people are talking about people and culture. You are in the university now, you are telling me you are studying HR. And personally, I know that people are looking for people and culture, because what do they want? Information technology recruiters, human resource partner, talent acquisition specialists, business partner, human resource business partners, sales. Nobody is looking at a sales and marketing manager nowadays. They are looking at sales representative, customer specialist, head of partnership, chief strategy officer, head of business development, just to name a few. Now, how many of these graduates have that and they are tarmacking?
So basically, we've moved from the naive careers where it's just a HR, or it's just this, it's developing to something else.
Yes, there are some careers that are slowly dying, and I know them, and I can hear their beep every day. Toop, toop. And when you hear that in the hospital, does it mean the person is on the other side or with us? The person is approaching the other side. Yes, and the doctors are telling you, here, it's about now God. Because we have done our part, that's why we have placed the person on life support machines.
Yeah.
And there are careers that are on life support machines.
It's a big risk, but what careers are those? It's a big risk to mention, but what careers are those?
I might mention and make some guys faint, so.
Yeah. Okay.
But like the secretarial, do we have secretarial nowadays? What were those things that we are doing that were called computer packages? Are we still having someone walking around the line? The factory workers, the line workers, some careers are dying. The clerical jobs, they are slowly dying. The messengers, they are slowly dying. Slowly. Who requires a messenger when you can just call guys that are doing the riders and they come pick?
Yeah, true.
Where is Posta, by the way? Just to mention one big company. So we need to adopt. Where is Eveready? They refuse to start producing Soras. Eveready is closed. It was in my area in Nakuru. It closed down. As they watch, because they say there is no way battery could be replaced from a torch. Where are we?
Wow.
Yes.
And such an incredible point, Muraya, very incredible point. You've talked of reskilling. That just also means that you're not safe wherever you're working right now. You're not safe, basically, because 2 years from now, I'll give an example, perhaps in mass communication. 2 years from now, it will be, are you just a journalist, or are you a health journalist? Are you a social media, expert? Are you a business journalist? So things are evolving. So reskilling, does it necessarily mean that I have to go back to campus for a short course, maybe 6 months or whatever? Or do I just have to go online, look up and working?
With the evolution of technology, you do not need to go back to campus. You need just to choose a course or a certificate course that aligns to the future of work and to your interest. Because what if, like those courses I'm mentioning, the IT, I know practically I am not an IT person. So I will not go for cyber security just because it's paying. Because I am still digging another hole in my life. So you just need to know how is your running. If you can be able to run online, so we have the Virtual University of Kenya, by the way. Have you looked at their courses? And I know students are not even applying for it. And that means they can go and get the experience as they study during their part-time. So meaning, you will need either to go for part-time studies or you need to go to online classes and choose a course. And these online classes, most of them, the program is already set. So you'll only have to log in at your own ample time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's talk about TVET institutions and universities. There's a move to have, you know, diplomas and certificates moved from universities. You can access them, you know, from colleges and from institutions and TVET institutions. Is there a big gap? Are you able to notice that big gap between somebody that has graduated from a university and somebody that has graduated from a TVET institution? Same course. I'll give an example, maybe IT. Same course, they have done it. This one has done a 4-year course, has gotten the degree. This one has done a 2 or 3 years course, has gotten that diploma, or even a 1-year course, has gotten that certificate. Are you able to pick the difference between these two persons? Because that is a big issue that I've seen in a lot of interview rooms. There's the theory person and there's a practical person. Are you able to do that?
I know you don't want to mention who is the other person. You want me to be the devil's advocate, but here we are. Personally, if today I was hiring for a not even technical role, for a role that would require maybe somebody to start at a supervisor junior level, mostly we are looking for the diploma people. Why? Diploma, they are doing examinations that are maybe nationally, maybe from NEC or CASNEBs. So meaning, this person have to really study hard for them to acquire those credit points. Whereas the other person is studying an exam that is set from the same faculty. So meaning, one faculty from the other one university is setting a different assessment or exam from another university. Okay, I've never known why, because I thought it should be standard, so that when we have graduates, we produce graduates from this country who are not only competitive here locally, but globally. So there is a very big difference, and it have been there. I have seen it myself. A guy with a diploma is able to produce more results than a guy with what I call the shining papers. Because these shining papers make you start thinking that this guy is inferior. He had a C+, you had a B+, and whatever employer needs is the results. Whatever we need is somebody who can perform. So I would say, not that I'm advocating people to go for TVETs and to leave university, but I'm saying, can we have the brand? Yes, let's have the brand. You might be doing one course in the university. There is a lot of ample time. Mostly we have 2 lecture maybe during the day. What are you doing with the other time, by the way? What are they doing? I always ask myself. At high school, they will wake up at 4. They will end their day at 9:30 p.m. So at campus, they will start their day at 8, end their day at 4. What are they doing with this other time? And by the way, Nanjara, there is always a question I always ask people. You work for 8 hours, you are recommended to sleep for 8 hours, so where does the other 8 hours go? Because a day has 24 hours. Nobody has ever been able to tell me what they do with their 8 hours. Because these 8 hours should be able to, either you are sharpening your skills, or it's either you are getting into maybe another, what I would call a side, people call it a side hustle, but mostly this side hustle will make the main hustle. But if you have been able to balance, you can be able to have another thing you are doing with the other 8 hours extra or 5 hours extra that you have. So I have, personally, I've advised a lot of people, especially with these concepts, and I found guys who are telling me, because I am very realistic, I'm very technical, would you advise me to start this course from where? And personally, I say, start it from the diploma level, the TVETs, because you get first-hand skills. Then you can go and get your graduation. When you already have a job that you are doing. Let me ask you a simple question. Your mechanic, which grade did he, or which certificate, by the way, do you look when you go to a mechanic? Because you cannot tell me that you'll buy a new car for 1.5 million and you take to a class 8 dropout to check on it. But most of those guys are class 8 dropout. That's why TVET is trying to come into they're calling it the cognition of prior learning or prior experience. Because they need to recognize these people who are doing very good job in this country, and we are believing in them. Actually, like my mechanic, I think he tells me he never completed class 8. But when he tells me that this car is perfect, you can use it with your family to go to Mombasa. I'm on Mombasa Road with 120 speeding because a class 7 dropout assured me that the car is working. So, isn't that a mixed reality? I think I've answered you even below the diploma. You see, I'm believing in my mechanic who is a class 7 dropout, but he's so blessed with the skills and he knows what he's doing and he have mastered that, he's competent with it, that I believe him over and over again to a point of recommending. Yes, I recommend you to my mechanic. Without even checking his CV. Yes.
Now, we need to put a disclaimer. We're not discrediting degree certificates.
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
However, from what I'm hearing you say is, it's even possible that a learner or somebody could be doing the degree course, but they're able to also come out and do a postgraduate diploma, right? Because truth be told is, you know, the skills of somebody that has been in technical end of the university, there's a big difference. However, that difference can be bridged, and I've seen a lot of graduates comfortably leaving university, going back to do a postgraduate diploma, and they're just as much qualified as whoever did a diploma. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yes. What I'm saying is, why do you need to waste 4 years when you have gaps of time? Why don't you merge? Why don't you merge the same time? Such that during the day you can do something in campus, in the evening you can do something with your diploma or postgraduate. During your ample time, maybe at night or during the day when you are flex, you can do something online. So meaning you have 3 careers in 4 years, and it's very possible. I did this to some 2, 3, 4 people in 2021, and I'm happy to report that they have already completed their diploma. They have already completed their online course. They are only now left to graduate next year. So meaning it is very possible to achieve the 3 careers that are on your profile. Because like my profile, when I did my career interest, says that I'm ESA. Meaning I'm entrepreneurial, socio, artistic. Therefore, I could have done careers that involve product development, communication, sales and marketing, and maybe something to do with what can make me be creative and maybe that ideation that is in me. Because it's only in Kenya that when you mention artistic, people start thinking about musicians, actors. No, artistic people are creators. They are able to create and have both ideation and imagination. And I think CBC because they have those 7 key competencies, and that's one of them. Imagination and creativity is one of 7 core competencies of CBC. And again, we have something CBC, they are calling learning to run. So meaning, learning cannot stop from after you have graduated. Because I meet graduates, you have 10 years after graduation. Are you still offering the employer the relevant skills that are needed in the market? If you're not going back to sharpen yourself. Yeah.
All right. We also have a big trend of Kenyans that are seeking for jobs abroad, and unemployment is such a big crisis in Kenya. And I'd pick it up from the youth, who have got a 12.15% unemployment rate in Kenya. This, issue of going abroad, does it solve the job market? Does it really, ensure that, oh yes, I've graduated, I'm able to get this particular job abroad? Mostly could be something that you studied. Other times it could be, you're just looking for something to put on your pocket or even on your table. So for Kenyans that are seeking for employment abroad, you know, have they completely solved this gap between education and the job market? Have they solved it?
We cannot continue exporting our intellectuals, and it's unfortunate that we have to send graduates out of this country, and when they go out of this country, they will have to study again, including the doctors, because whatever we studied, it's not recognized. And when I say it's not recognized, it's because we started maybe in a Kenyan curriculum that is not applicable. Even in South Africa here, a BCom guy here in Kenya will have to study something else in South Africa for them to be absorbed. You'll be lucky enough if you are using your hands or the doers, the waiters, the cleaners. Personally, one time I had gotten a job to go to Australia and I was very excited. But I asked, what am I going to do? And somebody told me I was going to pick oranges, to pluck oranges. I said, wow. You want to mean from the day I arrived, I'll be an orange plucker? Yes, but you get $500,000. So you go to that job because you're getting the $500,000. But how does that make you feel? Of course, it will alleviate the problem, but we'll have to look into what does those other countries need, so that we can start studying there. Because if I know I would want to go to US, I would start merging my courses, maybe from edX. From edX is a consortium of 190 universities, including Harvard and MIT, so that as I continue to study with my local degree, I'm also doing a certification courses that can align with where my mind wants to go. So that when I go there, I can switch and use that certificate or that postgraduate degree that I have, so that I fit in that labor market. Yes, so this will solve it in the meantime, but how many of them are able to go? Yes, because even the going, how much are they charging? If you are lucky, right now, to get an agent who will charge you less than $500,000 for a visa to US, if you are lucky. How many people have $500,000 in their bank account today?
Very few.
Yeah.
Right. So, Murai, we've got a few minutes to wrap it up. And I'd love us to now wind down this conversation. Can we completely alleviate this gap? Because actually, I'll get you a feedback of somebody that has just sent in and says, you know, we'll talk about bridging the gap, but the government, or putting that in action with this government, will be difficult. So how big of a role does the government have to play in ensuring that we are cutting off the unemployment rate in the country?
It's a tall order, because government talks about basic education, and basic education ends where you get a certificate written Kenya. The moment you receive that certificate at Form 4 written Kenya certificate of secondary education, the government says that that's a basic education. Whatever we do thereafter, and this is from my own research and I can prove, whatever we do thereafter is from our own interests and our own volition. So the government has, yes, the room to do this, but the government has to work with the private sector to create these jobs, to create an ample environment and enabling environment, to create structures and infrastructures that are working. And unfortunately, when will these graduates also join in creating, like whatever I'm doing today? I tried to call graduates of psychology. I told them I'm not going to pay you, but if you follow my footsteps, in 7 months, you can be able to do it on your own. They were like, are we going to work for free? Pro bono services? No, you have to pay us. But then, I am paying you, but I'm creating for you an employment avenue where you can self-employ yourself and you can apply your own skills and experience. Yes. Until we get to that point that we are producing thinkers, not workers, it will be difficult to change the momentum. Yes. But I'm seeing hope. I'm seeing hope with CBC, because I was looking at a verse in Ecclesiastes 9, 10, and 11 that says that whatever your hands fight to do, do it with your might, for there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave where we are going. And this was Paul saying that I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor battle to the strong, nor bread to the wise, nor riches to men of understanding, nor favor to men of skill, but time and chance happens to us all. So, my dear graduates, my dear job seekers, time and chance is happening to us all. Do not let time pass, because time never mark times. So do not continue mark timing, saying you are looking for a job, doing the same thing every day and expecting different results. I have seen a guy who is a graduate but is selling smoking and is making 3,000 per day. So you better be that guy who is doing something to make life meet.
Yeah.
Because sitting idle actually will only alleviate your stress problem and your mental issues and health issues.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. What a way to wrap it up. Joseph Muraya, the Chief Executive Officer of Central Careers, thank you for your input this morning. And you know, one thing that I've really picked from this conversation that we should run by it is that let us not be just consumers of jobs,
yes,
but also creators of jobs, because that mentality that I must be hired, I need to finish so that I can be hired on is perhaps one of the biggest contributing factor to the unemployment rate in Kenya. So thank you for your insight this morning. In case you're just tuning in and you've missed this broadcast, you can rewatch it across our social media platforms on EBN TV. We thank you for your feedback. Keep engaging us throughout the day, and we'll be able to get Muraya here to answer to some of your questions, if any. So that is why we want to wrap it up this morning. I'm Cynthia Nanjala. Coming up at the top of the hour is Your Faith Today with Reverend Felix Kavoy. Enjoy the rest of your programming.